data rates is a short video where we can actually review all the amendments and the data rates in a quick video. So let's try to do that. So number one, what is 802.11 amendments and how many of them? Today there are 802, there are 30 of them. There are 30 amendments, and the question is, why do we need 30 amendments? Why is one is not enough? And the answer is because the 802.11 started in 1991. That was the legacy standard, but then it evolved very quickly. The reason is the technology evolves and the features evolve. So every time we have a new technology developed or a new feature, then it will become an amendment on the original 802.11 legacy standard. And this is technically the life cycle of any standard. So once this amendment is approved and published, it will be add up functionality to the original legacy 802.11. So let's look at the list of all these amendments. Well, there are many of them, as you can see here in the picture. As I said, there are a total of 30 amendments, starting with 1991, but then 1997, where it's actually approved and released, and that was the original 802 legacy Wi-Fi. And at this point, today it's called Wi-Fi 0. And I will show you that next slide. But here we started from Wi-Fi 0, and then we evolved into the next generation of Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 7. Now each of these amendments has a special functionality that's add up to the original Wi-Fi release. For example, A and B, they offer bigger speed compared to the original 802.11. And so on. So each release offers higher speed or additional functionality. So let's pick example. For example, 802.11r, it will add functionality, for example, for a quick fast roaming, especially if you need to deploy Wi-Fi, voice over Wi-Fi, which is very, very critical to guarantee the quality of service for the voice over the Wi-Fi. So you need a special standard to deploy fast roaming function, and that's embedded in 802.11r. 802.11y, another example where actually they tried to deploy Wi-Fi over the 3.5 gigahertz band, which is mainly a US licensed US band. So that's yet another functionality added to the original 802.11, and so on. And fast forward to the 802.11 2020, which is the latest amendment for Wi-Fi IEEE, and it includes the new generations of Wi-Fi and many other features. It's not the topic for today's video to explain the functionality of each amendment, but that could be a separate video. Okay, so now let's look at the overall Wi-Fi generations. So as I said, originally in 1991, what we call it, the legacy Wi-Fi is Wi-Fi 0. It supported only 1 or 2 megabit per second, which is at the time is very fast, but in these day terms is very low speed. And afterwards in 1997, then there is Amendment B, which is also based on spread spectrum. And in 1997, we have the 802.11a. And this is the first time where actually IEEE released an amendment to use the 5 gigahertz band rather than the 2.4. All the previous amendments are based on the 2.4 gigahertz, but then the 11A is the first amendment where is based on the 5 gigahertz band. On top of that, in 802.11a, it used the OFDM technology rather than the spread spectrum technology. So at the time, it was not very popular, as you can imagine, because there's very few devices that could support OFDM modulation technology, and there are very few devices that actually supported the 5 gigahertz band. So 11a was not very popular at the time for the reason I just mentioned. Then 802.11g came in very handy, because it offers higher speed, as you can see here, and it supported the 2.4 gigahertz band, which is the most popular Wi-Fi band. And from now on, each generation added additional functionality and additional speed. 11N is very popular, released in 2003, and it could support both the 2.4 and the 5 gigahertz bands. And then the Wi-Fi 5, which is very popular nowadays. Most of the laptops NIC card are actually supporting these generations of Wi-Fi. There is barely any laptop that doesn't support Wi-Fi these days. Wi-Fi 6, which what we call the 11AX, that was released in 2014 and could support up to 9.6 gigabit per second, which is very high speed, is actually comparable to optical fiber speed and could support 3 bands, the 2.4 gigahertz, the 5 and the 6 gigahertz. And then the latest generation is Wi-Fi 7, which was released recently 2019, and support up to from 1.3 all the way to 46 gigabit per second, and also support the 3 bands. I hope this video was useful. If you have anything you need to know about the 802.11, please leave a comment and I'll be more than happy to address that.